Ahead of tonight's Democratic presidential debate, we take another look at recent comments by Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. Sanders says if he is elected, population control will be central to his plan to protect the environment.
I think especially in poor countries around the world, where women do not necessarily want to have large numbers of babies, and where they can have the opportunity through birth control to control the number of kids they have, something I very, very strongly support.
The comments made during last week's CNN town hall on climate change have drawn criticism from pro-life Americans. Dr. Gracie Christie, Senior Policy Advisor for the Catholic Association, joins me now. Gracie, welcome back into the studio. Senator Sanders talked about women's, quote, right to control their own bodies and reproductive decisions. He went on to talk about the use of birth control, as you heard, in poor countries around the world. When you heard these comments for the first time, what was your reaction?
Well, you know, right before he said that, he actually referenced the Mexico City policy, which protects the developing world from American ideological colonialism, right? That we promote abortion, well, we used to promote abortion in third world countries. So he would like to see that brought back. So my feeling when I saw that was that it's very poor optics for an elderly, white, liberal, very progressive liberal to be recommending population control to the black and brown babies of the world in developing countries.
It is very disturbing to so many. Aside from the obvious pro-life concerns here on the issue of birth control, I think a lot of viewers were also taken back more about that issue that you say about the race implications here, but it doesn't seem to me it's necessarily just about race, Gracie. It's also about like elitism. I mean, who is the higher upper echelon of society?
That's right, and it's also about seeing people as debits in the climate game, right? So if a person is a carbon emitter, right, that you can look at people as carbon emitters, or you can look at them as children of God. So people in the environmental movement, unfortunately, very often look at people as something that can be sacrificed in favor of the environment. But if the environment isn't for people, then who is it for?
Like you said, they just think of it then as humans as just a carbon, basically.
Yeah, people who are emitting carbon, right? So if we can stop having children or prevent other people from having children, we're going to benefit the environment. But I think it would be better for all of us, including the environmental left and all the Democratic candidates, to think of people as assets. As we can have solidarity, they should have solidarity with all the people in the world, poor or rich, black, brown, white, and think of everybody as an asset.
So important because people can contribute to the society in so many ways. As we think about countries, also another issue here about with aging populations, what do you think are some of the problems we see in general when there's not enough young people in a country?
Well, you bring up a really good point. So the person who asked the question of Bernie Sanders was taking the position that the population is going to grow and grow and become unbearable, like the earth can't sustain it. But the truth is that in a few decades, the population is going to start shrinking because people are not having children like they used to. And this is going to be a demographic nightmare where you have only a few young people taking care of an aging population that can no longer work. And this is a kind of nightmare scenario which is much more likely to happen than the scenario where there's too many people in the world and we can't sustain them.
Tonight we'll get a chance to hear from some of the top 10 Democratic candidates as they face off on the same stage. It's not about climate control per se as this last one was, but what are you hoping to hear from Senator Sanders?
I would like to hear him walk back these comments and say something about how if you want to take care of the world, think about it as God's creation. It's a gift to all of us, and think about human beings as part of that gift creation. And solidarity with all the people of the earth, no matter if they're in the developing world or in the rich Western world.
Very good. Such an important message, and like I say, something that all candidates should be keeping in mind. Dr. Gracie Christie, Senior Policy Advisor for the Catholic Association, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you.